we are already know that when a particle moves along a circular path, its direction is continuously changing. Okay? Even though the motion is uniform, that means the magnitude of velocity, that is the speed, is constant, but its direction is continuously changing. Okay. So when the particle is, suppose at this point, suppose here there is a circular path, a particle is executing a circular motion, then suppose the particle is at this point, then you can see that the direction is at the of the particle at this point is along the tangent. Suppose if the particle is at this point, then the direction is along these directions. Okay. So when the particle is in circular motion, its direction is continuously changing. That means if there is a change in velocity, that means the change in velocity may take place either in magnitude or its directions. So here in the uniform circular motion, here the magnitude remains constant, but the direction is continuously changing. So we can say that the velocity is changing. So whenever there is a velocity changing, we can say that there is an acceleration. So we can find in this uniform circular motion, or we are going to find out that the direction of the acceleration is along towards the center of the circular path. Here the acceleration is directed towards the center of the circular path. So this acceleration is called centripetal acceleration. This acceleration is called centripetal acceleration. Okay. So here we are going to find out what is the magnitude of the centripetal acceleration and also the direction. We are going to prove that the centripetal acceleration is directed towards the center of the circular path. Okay. Suppose consider a particle of mass m is moving along the circular path with a constant speed v, and the radius of the circular path is taken as small r. Okay. As I already said, here the direction of the velocity at any point in the circular path is along the tangent. Okay. Now look into the figure. Now this is the center of the circular path. Let me denote it by O. Okay. Now when we observe the motion of the particle, suppose the particle is at the point A. This point A. Now I draw a radius vector towards the point A. Here, what is the direction of the particle at this point? Direction of velocity of the particle at this point, that is along the tangent. Okay. So I draw a tangent AP. So AP is the direction of velocity at the point A. Now after a time t, the particle reaches the point B. Okay. The point B. So what is the direction of the velocity at the point B? That is along the tangent. So I draw a tangent at this point B. So that is, let me draw a tangent. So I draw a tangent BQ at the point B that gives the direction of the velocity at the point B. Okay. Now, during that time, the particle has an angular displacement theta. So here theta is the angular displacement. Theta is the angular displacement. Okay. If the angle between OA and OB is theta, then the angle between the tangents at A and B will also be theta. That is, if the angle between A and B, that is OA and OB is theta, then the angle between the tangents at the point is also theta. That is, the tangent at the point A is AP, and the tangent at the point B is BQ. Okay, so I draw a parallel line that is corresponding to AP at the point B. So I draw BM. Okay, I draw the point BM. I draw that line BM that is parallel to AP. So if the angle between OA and OB is theta, then angle between BQ and AP is also theta. That means the angle between BQ and BM is also theta. Okay. So the particle is at the uniform circular motion. That means the magnitude of velocity is constant, but their directions are different. Okay. So we can see there is an acceleration as we have discussed earlier. Since there is a change in direction of the velocity, that means there is a change in velocity. That means there is an acceleration. Okay. So to find out the acceleration of the particle directed towards the center, we have to find out, be careful, we have to find out the rate of change of velocity towards the center. Okay, so we have to find out the rate of change of velocity towards the center. For that, we have to find out the component of velocity towards in the direction that is towards the center of the circular path. Okay, so let us find the component of velocity at the points A and B. Let us consider the point A. So here the direction of velocity is along AP. Okay, that is along the tangent. So when we resolve the vector AP into the two components, we can see that the AP vector is along the tangent, that is along the horizontal directions. That means there is no component along AO. That is no component in the vertical directions. Okay, here AO is the direction towards the center. Here AO is the vertical direction. So we can see that at the point A, the velocity has no component along AO. Okay, so let me write the component along AO. The velocity component along AO is 0. So let me write the component of velocity at A along OA or AO, whatever it is, along AO is 0. Okay. Now we will look into the components at the point B. Here, the velocity directed towards the director along the tangent BQ. Okay. So we can split the vector into the two components. Okay. So one component is along the BM and another component is along. Okay. So we can split this component along. One component is along BM and another component is along BN. So here the component, here the magnitude of velocity is B. So the components along BM, that is, what is this component? That is V cos theta. And what is the component along BN? That is V sin theta. Okay. So the component along the vertical direction, that is the component along AO or the component along BN, that is both are parallel. So the component of velocity at B along AO, that is same as the BN, that is along BN, that is equal to, what is that component? That is V sin theta. Here we are using the resolution of the vector that we have studied in the first semester. Okay. Now there is no initial velocity along AO while the particle was at A. That we have already said, that is the component of velocity at A along AO is 0. Okay. So A is the initial point and B is the final point. Here we are considering the components of velocity at the point A and B along vertical direction, that is along AO. Okay. Now we have the two components. Now what is the we have the two components along the vertical direction, that is along AO. Now we can find the acceleration. Okay. What is the change in velocity? The change in velocity during the time t is final velocity component, that is V sin theta, initial velocity component is 0. Okay. Therefore, what is the acceleration? Acceleration towards the, that is along AO, that means the acceleration towards the center of the circle. The center of the circle is equal to change in velocity by time, that is V sin theta minus 0 divided by t, that is equal to V sin theta by t. Okay. But here we are making an approximation, but the t being infinitely small. If we take the time interval is very small, then theta also will be very small. Theta will be very small. If t is very small, theta will be very small. If theta is very small, then what happens? the sine theta is approximately equal to theta itself. Okay, if we measure the angle in radian. Okay, if t is very small, theta also will be very small. Then the sine theta, that is approximately equal to theta itself. Then the acceleration and the centripetal acceleration A is equal to, it is reduced to v theta by t. V theta by t. Okay. Here v is the magnitude of the velocity, that is a constant. Then I can express what is theta by t. Theta by t is the angular displacement by time. That is the angular velocity. So v omega. Okay. A is equal to v omega. Since omega is equal to theta by t. That we have studied in the previous class. Okay. So angular, so centripetal acceleration A is equal to v omega. Suppose we can replace. We can have the relation v is equal to r omega. V is equal to r omega. That is the relation between linear velocity and angular velocity. If we substitute, if we replace v by r omega, then the relation will become A is equal to r omega square. A is equal to r omega square. And also, if we replace omega by using the relation v is equal to r omega, then what is omega? Omega is equal to v by r. So in that case, the relation becomes v square by r. V square by r. So, for the centripetal acceleration, we have three expressions. That is, A is equal to v omega, A is equal to r omega square, and A is equal to v square by r. Okay. So that is the centripetal, the expression for the centripetal acceleration. Okay. Now what is the centripetal force? Centripetal force. As we may know, in order to produce an acceleration, a force must be acted on that particle. Without a force, there is no acceleration. So from the Newton's second law, we know physically ma, that means to produce an acceleration, there should be a force. Here also, to produce a centripetal acceleration, there is a force must be acted on that particle. This force is called a centripetal force. Centripetal force. It is directed. What is the direction of the centripetal force? It is directed towards the center of the curved path. Towards the center of the circular path or the center of the curved path. Okay, but direction of the centripetal force is same as the direction in which the acceleration is taking place. Okay. If m is the mass of the particle which is executing a circular motion in a circular path of radius r, then the centripetal force is given by F is equal to centripetal force F is given by, from the Newton's second law we have force equal to m into A, that is m into what is the value of centripetal acceleration? We have three expressions. Let me take one expression, that is v square by r. So the centripetal force is equal to mv square by r. This is also same as the, we have another expression for the centripetal, we have the another expression for the centripetal acceleration, that is A is equal to what is that? R omega square. So m r omega square. This is another expression for the centripetal force. We have the one more expression, that is m v omega. That is m v omega. All these are the expressions for the centripetal force. Okay. Now we are going to say that no work is done by the centripetal force. How can we say that? Here, for the circular motion, there should be a force. That force is the centripetal force. But the work done by the centripetal force is zero. The work done by the centripetal force is zero. Okay. We know when we say that a force is doing a work, a force is a work is done by a force. If the direction of the displacement and the direction of the force applied are perpendicular to each other, then the work done by that force equal to zero. We know F dot D or S, that is F into S cos theta. Okay. If theta is equal to zero, there is a maximum work done, that is force and displacement are in the same directions. If theta is equal to 90 degree, that means the displacement happened in a perpendicular direction of the force applied. If theta is equal to 90 degree, then W is equal to 0. Okay, so let us take, in the case of the circular motion, what about the directions of the force applied and the displacement? Let's come into the previous figure. Here, the displacement, that is along the direction of the velocity. Okay. Here the displacement is directed in the direction of the velocity. That is the direction of the displacement. So we are already see that the direction of the velocity is along the tangent. That is, the direction of the velocity is always along the tangent. That means the direction of the displacement is along the tangent. Suppose a particle is acted upon by the centripetal force. We know what is the direction of the centripetal force. The direction of the centripetal force is along towards the center of the circular path. Okay, that means here the direction of the centripetal force and the direction of the displacement are perpendicular. So what is the work done? The work done should be zero. So in that sense, we say that the work done by the centripetal force is always zero. Okay. So let's have some of the examples. So motion of the planet around the sun and the motion of the electron around the nucleus are the examples, some of the examples. So in the planetary motion, that is when the earth is revolving around the sun, the centripetal force, there should be some agency to provide the centripetal force. Otherwise, a particle cannot continue the circular motion. Okay, if a particle is undergoing a circular motion, there should be a centripetal acceleration. For the centripetal acceleration, there should be a centripetal force. So without the presence of the centripetal force, a particle or a body cannot continue the circular motion. So who will provide the necessary centripetal force? So in the planetary motion, the necessary centripetal force is provided by the gravitational attraction between the earth and the sun, or the planet and the sun. So the necessary centripetal force is here is acted by the gravitational attraction force between the planet and the sun. Similarly, in the case of the electron motion in an atom, which is the required centripetal force, it is the electrical attraction between the positive nucleus and the negative electron that contributes the necessary centripetal force. Okay, we have some more examples that happen in our daily life. So, whenever there is a circular motion, we should, as a physics students, we should observe, we should identify which is the necessary centripetal force required for the circular motion. Okay. Suppose if we have a stone or a mass is attached to the end of a string. Okay, a stone is tied at the end of a string, and we whirl around and it is whirled around with the help of a finger. We can see that which is who is going to provide the necessary centripetal force. Here, the tension in the string provide the necessary centripetal force. To continue the circular motion of the stone, we are just pulling the finger towards the center of the circular path. So the pulling. So due to the presence of that pulling, there is a tension in the string. So the tension in the string provides the necessary centripetal force. Okay. Suppose if a car turns around a horizontal curve. Okay. Whenever a vehicle is turning a curve, vehicle is undergoing a circular motion. So there should be some necessary centripetal force. So who is providing the necessary centripetal force at the curve, horizontal curve? Here, the friction between the wheel and the ground supplies the necessary centripetal force. Okay. And also, if a train is running around a horizontal curve, here the flanges of the wheel press on the rails. The flanges of the wheels press on the rail. This lateral thrust exerted by the rails on the flange provide the necessary centripetal force. In the case of the planetary motion, we are already discussed, that is the gravitational attraction supplies the necessary centripetal force. Okay, and also in the case of the electron, the Coulomb attractive force provide the necessary centripetal force. So whenever you see a circular motion, we should be able to identify the necessary centripetal force.